Okay, so I know I'm a bit late on the Diaz versus Koscheck thing, but at least I'm here now. In my last video, namely the one that I did live, I haven't done a video live in probably a year, 9 months or so. The last video I did live was the reaction to UFC 143 with Diaz losing that decision to Carlos Condit. But I mean, judges will be judges, and I'll be me. There's no way you're gonna sway me. I'm thoroughly convinced that Nick Diaz should be in Carlos Condit's shoes. But abroad that, let's just skim on what's going on right now in MMA. It's beyond a rumor now. It's almost confirmed. It's been verbally agreed to that Diaz will fight Josh Koscheck. And this is something I said in my live video. It's 412 versus 209 because I'm from Pittsburgh. That's our area code. And I'd love to see it. Two shit talkers. The thing is, Koscheck went to Edinburgh University. How far is Edinburgh from here?
Edinburgh is like 45, maybe an hour and a half.
Maybe an hour
and a half or 45 minutes. One of the two. I'm not sure.
I'll meet in the middle and say Edinburgh University is about an hour away.
I'd say an hour and a half.
If you drive 70, it's about an hour away.
Yeah.
Okay, an hour away. An hour away is Edinburgh University, and that's where Josh Koscheck was a wrestling coach.
Talkers. That's fun. That's what'll be fun.
Was a wrestling coach, and he was a wrestling coach there whenever he was recruited to do the Ultimate Fighter Season 1 television show. So he called out, after he got his title shot, he did call out George St-Pierre, and he said, only we're going to do it in Pittsburgh, and the Penguins are going to beat the Capitals. Yeah, and just screamed a bunch of shit talk. And GSP ended up blinding him in one eye in the second round, but couldn't finish him. And here's the problem, is if you can't finish a one-eyed man in 15 minutes, there's something wrong. There's something wrong. And what GSP said in the prime time was he lost the flame, the fire to fight, to finish people. And he's going to bring that back. He's going to bring back George Rush St-Pierre, the karate aspect, not just the wrestling, not playing it safe. He wants to bring back a good, a good fight, a war for the fans. And listen, I'll believe it when I see it. But for right now, I would love to see Carlos Condit pull off the upset and win the fight by TKO, something like that. We all know that Matt Serra knocked the fight out of George St-Pierre. We all know that. We all know that. Look, man, he fought with green trunks on and got knocked the fuck out and won the belt. All of a sudden, GSP is wearing the tightest fucking trunks you can possibly wear and wrestling people to the ground, holding them there. He couldn't fucking submit a white belt Dan Hardy. I think he had him in 7 or 8. God, more.
Yeah.
A dozen holds. A dozen holds, man. This guy is #2 pound-for-pound fighter in the world. He has a guy that's a white belt, okay, on the ground where he prefers the fight. And he couldn't lock a hold on a white belt, an armbar, a guillotine. You name it, GSP couldn't lock it. He went back with his trainer and said, oh, that is why I couldn't lock it. It was just a little bit crooked. I mean, we learned this in the first week. It's called being green lighted. If you're green, it just means you're just a junior. And when I went to the Gracie Academy, they strangled me. They put me in arm bars. They put me in the Kimura was the worst. The Kimura was the worst because you can't see your arm. You can't see what's going on with your arm, and it hurts. I mean, but they do show you what you're doing to your opponent, and they do show you, how bad it does hurt and how effective it really truly is. George St-Pierre couldn't pull any of this off against Dan Hardy, a white belt. I'm not even a white belt. No one. He took no jiu-jitsu. He took some from Matt Serra leading up to the title fight. But that doesn't make you a white belt. That makes you just training in jiu-jitsu. That doesn't even make you a white belt. So you're not even a white belt. You're just training in that area so you don't get caught in certain things. And it was effective. Um, Dan Hardy escaped every single one of GSP's submission attempts and stood back up and struck with them. And then GSP, when he had the chance, wrestled him back to the ground. Dan Hardy has the heart of a lion and fought for 5 rounds. It was clearly a 50-45. GSP did win all 5 rounds, but I mean, Jackie was screaming. My wife was screaming. She was wearing all Dan Hardy gear, screaming for Hardy. And I mean, it was clear that GSP was going to win the decision. But as is the case for the last 4 or 5 fights. Let's see George Rush St-Pierre come back, bring the karate, the axe kicks, the striking, the leg kicks back into MMA. Let's see him wear some shorts. Don't come out in pajamas. Don't come out acting real hard when you're going to take someone down and hold them there. Carlos Condit's not that kind of guy. Actually, Carlos Condit holds currently the highest finishing rate out of any MMA fighter at 92.9%. Carlos Condit holds the record for most finishes in MMA as percentages go. 92.9% of Carlos Condit's fights end in knockout or submission. So, to knock out George St-Pierre, to submit George St-Pierre will be tough. He went to decision with Nick Diaz. It was unanimous. It wasn't split. It was unanimous. That is what basically made my channel just shoot up, was our reactions to it, because I felt Nick Diaz picked him apart. I didn't think he picked Nick apart. I mean, leg kicks, maybe.
I think it was just the running that pissed me off. Really. That made me the most pissed. Because how are you going to win a title fight running from somebody?
Yeah, well, he did.
You should have known more skill. You should have used skills to win a belt. That's not ridiculous. That's just ridiculous.
Well, if you agree, then comment on it. Starting over with what's going to happen at UFC 154. Do you want in? Sit back there.
Okay. I don't know.
So at UFC 154, I used to call it 150. UFC 150 Boar is Carlos Condit, who GSP himself said is the true welterweight champion, is going to face GSP or Rush, depending on who shows up. I'm picking Carlos Condit for the upset. I don't care what my previous videos say. I think Carlos Condit, with a 92.9% finishing ratio, will come up with a tremendous game plan for GSP, Rush, George St-Pierre, whatever the fuck you want to call him. He's not number 2 pound-for-pound best fighter in the world. He hasn't fought in 18, 19 months. Ring rust is going to play a huge factor in this fight, and I think Carlos Condit is going to go ahead and take that. I think he's going to take that and run with it. On the heels of that will be Nick Diaz and Benson Henderson for their lightweight title fight. Now for this, I first saw odds go 4-1. 4-1 odds that Benson Henderson, being named number 6 by Sherdog, pound for pound best fighter on the planet. He was a 4-1 underdog, and that was understood. Now it's down to even. The odds are about even. Actually, the odds are negative 139 for Henderson, plus 138 for Diaz. So that's not even a 2-1. So, like I said before, I think Diaz needs to keep his boxing crisp, sharp on the outside. And look, Benson Henderson does seem unsubmittable. But when it comes to a Cesar Gracie black belt, like Nathan Diaz or Nick Diaz or Jake Shields, it's a whole different submission game. It's a whole different submission game. Like we saw in Pride in Vegas, no one ever saw a Gogo Plata live like that. They actually called it a triangle. When they said winner by triangle choke, it was no triangle choke. This is no triangle. This is a much more skilled, a whole different. I mean, it has nothing to do with setting up a triangle choke. This is a Gogo Plata. And the guy wasn't even fighting for the UFC. He was fighting for Pride. Yeah, he beat Gomi, which ended up in a no contest because he tested positive for THC. So, as is the Nick Diaz story. Nick Diaz and Josh Koscheck make perfect sense to me. Other than that, depending on Martin Kampman's win, I'd like to see him face Kampman too. But first and foremost, I would love to see Josh Koscheck versus Nick Diaz. I think it would make a marquee fight. I think it could be a main event on just about any card.
Yeah, I agree.
TV card, pay-per-view, I think it could be, anything. Both fighters have verbally agreed to it, and I want to see it happen. I want to see, Pittsburgh versus Octagon. Let's see what happens. Let's see what happens. Being from Pittsburgh, I'm always behind Josh Koscheck, but Nick Diaz being my favorite fighter, it would be an intriguing match for me. I would love to see it. It's just something that I really, really want to see, and I hope that it happens. Going on to UFC on Fox 6, there is Alexander Gustafsson, who I call the White John Jones, going against Shogun. Shogun, again, shows that cardio has played a factor in a few of his losses. Gustafsson is a negative 200, Shogun a plus 180. So I see Gustafsson pretty much handling this fight just like he does any other in, running over Shogun. Not running over Shogun, but basically outclassing him. He's one of those people that I call, the new era, Rory McDonald. Who else? Is it like the new era? John Jones. John Jones for sure. John Jones for sure.
Yeah, Rory McDonald.
Rory McDonald.
Who's the dude that just beat oh my god.
The new era.
The dude with the name that just beat. Hold on, I'm really dumb. Just beat what was the title? What was the title fight?
I don't know.
Oh my god.
Think of it, and I'll move on to Penn and McDonald. Okay, Rory McDonald is taking on who I think is the greatest lightweight of all time. And aside from Randy Couture, the only fighter in UFC history to hold both the welterweight championship and the lightweight championship of the UFC. And that's BJ Penn. I think BJ Penn is being scrutinized here at 250. Plus 250 underdog, and negative 240 for McDonald's too much for me. 4-1 underdog is too much for me. And look, man, BJ Penn. I think he was very humbled by being battered and beat up like that by Nick Diaz. So much so that he retired. BJ Penn was not planning on retiring after he fought Nick Diaz. Win, lose, or draw, he was not planning on retiring after that fight with Nick Diaz. He was just so humbled by the fact that this guy is this high-leveled that, he said, I want to fight the best, but I cannot go home looking like this. I have a daughter, and Joe Rogan, I'll shake your hand right now. I'm done. I can't do this anymore. But he will this December as he fights one of the best and up-and-coming, and Rory, the Waterboy McDonald, actually calls himself Aries now. So Rory Aries McDonald is actually a 3.5 to 1 favorite. I mean, it's crazy to think that, because BJ Penn's he's been an icon of the sport. He's been a shit talker, and he was humbled. And let's see what the Hilo boy can do. So I'm going to go with the Hilo kid, even though he's a far underdog. I'm going to go ahead and go with Penn. What do you think about the Penn McDonald fight?
McDonald's going to take it.
Think McDonald's going to take it?
Yeah, it feels weird to say it. I mean, the odds, yeah.
It does. It feels weird to say that Rory McDonald is going to handle BJ Penn. Yeah. It feels weird to say that because in what area? I mean, if you take Penn to the ground, Penn's legs are just like arms when you get him to the ground. Yeah. And it's been said for a long time that BJ Penn is the best jiu-jitsu.
I think it's just, I don't know.
And again, he's fighting at 170 when he should be at lightweight. He should be fighting at 155. I don't know why he's fighting at 170. Any thoughts on why he's fighting at 170?
I don't have no.
He should be a lightweight.
Oh yeah. I don't know.
He did knock Matt Hughes out, which put Matt Hughes into retirement. But
I think that kid's name is really bothering me.
If I had some money, I would lay it down on Penn. I don't think Penn would come back unless he had a solid game plan. He has plenty of money. I mean, the kid grew up with money. He has plenty of money. He has plenty of fame. He's going to be a UFC Hall of Famer. Why come back if you're coming back to lose? Okay. You're coming back to win. You're coming back to do something. Just as Rich Franklin did when he took the fight with Mandalay Silva, ended up winning in his own territory, right in Rio de Janeiro. He just beat him up for 5 rounds, and except for the knockdown and almost knockout. Rich Franklin did end up winning the fight. Mainly, though, I think that BJ Penn is coming back to make a statement. If he does not make that statement, I don't see any future for
Yeah,
BJ
me
Penn
either.
besides retirement, and let the future take over. Rory McDonald, Jose Aldo, John Jones.
Barao. Hanan
Oh,
Barao.
Hanan Barao.
That's what
Yeah,
I'm trying to think
great,
of.
great, great, great.
That's
Hanan
it.
Barao. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the future.
Who did he just fight?
Uriah Faber.
Oh, that was
One
it.
of our favorites, Uriah
Okay.
Faber.
Yeah.
He actually, thank you, Uriah. Shout out to Uriah Faber. We had our baby, the 3rd, and
Six.
it was the 6th. I'm sorry. In the 7th, he tweeted me and said congratulations. So shout out to Uriah Faber and BJ Penn as well. BJ Penn. Shout out to BJ Penn. Thank you for the congrats, and Nick and Nate Diaz both for your subscriptions and thank yous. And I mean, we owe you guys tons. Every time Nick Diaz, it seems like people will go to his page, see his feed. If he likes a video, my paycheck fucking explodes. From my paycheck from Google explodes. Fair or not fair, I don't really care. I mean, it's just because Nick Diaz likes a video doesn't mean you guys have to follow, and it definitely doesn't mean you have to suck his dick with comments. Okay?
Hey, no, I don't think we need to go there. You need to edit that out.
Well, I can cut it out anytime I want to.
Yeah, you cut that out.
But look, I've heard people say things like Diaz lost the fight, just face the facts, and then
they'll
Diaz
talk shit and then he gets on and then they're cool.
Diaz likes the video.
That's what's not cool.
So people watch it and then they say, I actually had some guy say, face the facts. Diaz lost the fight. He needs to be a sport and accept it. And then Diaz likes the video. Nick Diaz likes the video, and he comes back to say, "Oh, that's not what I meant. I'm actually a Nick Diaz nut hugger. I love you, Nick." Come on, guys. I mean, really. Look, man, they're only human. They're only fighters, and I do owe Nick Diaz a ton of credit. And look, I mean, fans, they say he shits on his fans. If he shits on his fans, my lights wouldn't be on right now, guys. So, shout out to Nick Diaz. I think, overall, let's do our picks. If Nick comes back and he does fight Josh Koscheck, it would be excellent for me because Josh comes from Pittsburgh. 412 versus 209. I'm going to have to go with, I always go with 412, but I think wrestling is Josh's strength and boxing is Nick's strength. So let's go with, I'm going to have to go, wow. Josh Koscheck, Diaz, your thoughts? Who you pick?
All day.
Nick Diaz versus Josh Koscheck. What the wrestling?
All day.
The wrestling, though. The wrestling.
I don't care about the wrestling. It's gonna be all day Diaz.
I think the way that George St-Pierre
opponents into his game, so it doesn't matter what the other dude has because Diaz is gonna make
the way that George St-Pierre put it to him with the jabs on Koscheck, I think Nick can do double. So I'm gonna go with 209 Nick Diaz over Josh Koscheck. Nate Diaz and Benson Henderson. Well, let's go from the bottom to the top. Yeah. Penn versus McDonald. I'm gonna pick BJ Penn, the underdog. He's coming back for a reason. He's been humbled by Nick at UFC 137, his last fight, which was about a year and a half ago. Ring rust might play a role, but I think he's coming back, and he's coming back prepared over McDonald. I see a possible submission, so I'm going to go with Penn. Gustafsson versus Shogun, your thoughts?
The Shogun's cardio, man.
Yeah, I think Gustafsson will wear Shogun down in the first, second, in the first and the second round, and I like Gustafsson for sure. 3-1 favorite to win. I'm going to go with Gustafsson, and of course the title fight between Nathan Diaz and Benson Henderson. Even though they're closing in, as the odds are closing in, tighter and tighter. On Nate Diaz is becoming less and less of an underdog. I'm still going to say Benson Henderson's going to retain the title on UFC on Fox 6. Your thoughts?
On who?
Nathan Diaz.
Yeah, Nathan's taking it.
Nathan's going to take it.
Yes, Nathan. It's his shot. It's his time. Title all day.
He's been in this game for a long time. 2005. So, yeah, 7 years is a long time to wait for a title shot, and I think he's going to make the best of it. I just think Benson Henderson, I don't see one weakness in this guy's game. So I'm going to have to stick with Benson Henderson, even if he does vacate the title. I think Nate Diaz is going to learn from this, become better. It's it's my honest opinion. So I think Benson Henderson will retain the title on decision. He's not going to submit Nate Diaz. Certainly not going to submit him, and he's certainly not going to knock him out. So I see a definite decision. Now, if Nate Diaz does win the fight, it will be by TKO, referee stoppage, submission, something like that. I don't see a decision for Nathan Diaz. I see some sort of stoppage. Never. Yeah, I don't see a decision win for Nathan Diaz. And I'm going to edit and cut this video as best as I can. Actually, I might just refilm it as a live streaming video just so you all can fill in. So, who do you think is going to take the fight on UFC on Fox? UFC on Fox 6. There is Penn versus Rory McDonald. There's Alexander Gustafsson, aka the White John Jones, versus Shogun Rua. And then for the main event, of course, we have Nathan Diaz versus Benson, Bendo, Henderson. Who do you like? Leave it in the comment section. Like, dislike, and of course subscribe. And of course, I love you all. And it's a very cold, hard world out there. So as MMA advocates and MMA fans, take care of each other. All right. Take care of me. I take care of you. Yeah, I owe my subscribers and my fans everything. I never thought this channel would equal out to what it is, and you guys are incredible. And believe me, I do keep track of my subscribers. I have you guys all on my phone, on my Twitter, so check me out and stay tuned for the latest updates. Thank you guys.